All right, good morning, everybody. It's Football Friday. This is the Fantasy Sports Boss going to do a drive time wrap-up of last night's game between the Chiefs and the Lions. Lots of fantasy football ramifications coming out of this game. And the Lions pulling off the upset on the road. Huge game, statement game by the Lions, who look to be set to make some real noise in the NFC this year. I have quite a few thoughts on the game I wanted to talk about. Before I go any further, if you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. The channel growing exponentially, since the middle of the summer once again. So make sure you get in on the fun. Live stream later on today. And so right off the bat, when 2-0 with the picks, I had a lean on the Lions, getting 4.5. And my first official pick of the season that I bet myself was the under 53.5, which I gave you yesterday, and that came in on, under 21-20 game. With room to spare too. So that was an obvious one to me when Travis Kelce went out injured. And usually a first game too, there's jitters and there's some shaky play as the teams get acclimated because starters really don't play in the preseason anymore, and we saw that. But, man, first thing that jumped out about this game, looking back on it, the Kansas City Chiefs have no receivers. I mean, it was just Kadarius Toney, Sky Moore, cut them loose, send them to your waiver wire. Don't even think of picking them up again for the rest of the season. These two guys are complete dog shit. They were beyond. I mean, Toney, how many drops did he have yesterday? It was a pathetic performance. Sky Moore, I don't think he even had a catch. I think Toney had just the one catch, the one pitch. Drops all over the place. Just a pathetic, horrendous game for both. And I said on the stream yesterday, I said, if Sky Moore, with Travis Kelce out, if he can't do anything in this game, when they have a crying need for a receiver to step up, that's all you need to know to cut him loose for the entire season. It's just not going to happen. He was bad as a rookie last year. All right, you want to give him a break. He came from a small school. Maybe give him a little bit of an excuse there. He was so bad yesterday. And this Lions defense is not the 85 Bears. Let's face it. The only bright spot, and then they didn't really go back to him, is Rashee Rice, 3 catches and a score. You saw the separation, the game-breaking ability that he has. I have Rashee Rice on the bench in one of my leagues. I'm glad I do. I think, I said that he was going to be more of a storyline for the second half. But my God, given how bad Toney and Sky Moore were, they're going to have to accelerate him. There's no other way. Even if they get Kelce back, they have to have somebody else. Pat Mahomes, it was a minor miracle he was able to throw for 2 touchdowns. He ran for over 40 yards. He had no help at all. It was scary how bad the Kansas City wideouts played yesterday. It was just pathetic. There's no other way to classify. Noah Gray, he gave a good effort for himself. Replacing Kelce. But, man, it was ugly. And how about the running game? Clyde Edwards-Helaire gets the start. He gets 6 carries. Isaiah Pacheco gets only 8. And Pacheco, I believe he caught 4 passes. And this is kind of a continuation from the Super Bowl when he caught, I think it was 5 receptions in the Super Bowl. That's a dimension of his game that he really didn't show last year. So is that going to be part of it, the deal going forward, Pacheco? If it is, then he's certainly even more valuable now in PPR leagues. But Clyde Edwards-Helaire getting 6 carries, didn't see that. That was a little disappointing to see if you're a Pacheco owner. I think there's some brights. There's a bright future ahead for him based on the receiving usage in this game. Now, let's get to the Lions. So, David Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs, that was the storyline coming in. I said it yesterday on the stream. I said it all week leading up into the game. I wanted to see where how things were going to be divided between the two backs. Well, we got our answer. David Montgomery was the workhorse back. 21 carries, I think it was 74 yards. I don't have it in front of me. And he ran for a touchdown. The touchdown was impressive. He broke a couple of tackles, got into the end zone late in the game. And it really did save his game because his fantasy week. Because without that, it was, going to be pretty much a dud. So he put up 14 fantasy points in PPR. Did not have a reception. So, Jamal Williams was not involved as a receiver at all, really, for the Lions last year. That was left to DeAndre Swift when he was on the field. So the fact that Montgomery did not catch a pass tells me that the Lions do not design pass plays for the quote-unquote big back, whether it's Jamal Williams, whether it's David Montgomery. So David Montgomery, projecting him forward, I don't think we can project a lot of catches for him. Now, he's capable of doing that. Anybody who saw him in college at Iowa State, he caught a ton of passes. He was really good catching the football, and he was an underrated receiver with the Chicago Bears as well. But that has not manifested itself so far with the Detroit Lions. And I don't think that's going to change going forward. Now, Jahmyr Gibbs. So 21 carries for David Montgomery, only 7 for Jahmyr Gibbs. But he went over 40 yards, and he showed that explosive speed, that acceleration, game-breaking, tantalizing, mouth-watering, whatever adjective you want to use. Jahmyr Gibbs had it. I think it was 3 receptions he had. Really, he has that game-breaking ability that we've all been talking about. The problem is that, Dan Campbell, and I talked about this a couple of days ago, Dan Campbell said publicly that they're going to monitor the workload of Jahmyr Gibbs, especially early, because he is a smaller back. Now, I don't like the way Jahmyr Gibbs was leading with his head. Anybody that saw, especially I think it was his first touch, I thought he was going to go right into the blue tent, helmet-to-helmet hit. I don't like the way he's leading with his head when he runs. That's a little scary for me against bigger NFL defenders. You can maybe get away with that a little bit in college, not in the NFL. But the plan came to fruition. They only gave him 7 carries to Montgomery's 21. I said I thought Montgomery would get 20 carries. He did. He got 21. And listen, it worked. He scored a touchdown. And 17 touchdowns for Jamal Williams last year. That's going to be the role for David Montgomery on this team. And the fact that he was able to score, it was an impressive run, to break a couple of tackles. Why change the plan? They just upset the Kansas City Chiefs. It worked. If you went on Twitter yesterday, everybody was screaming, "Oh, Dave Montgomery sucks. He's a plotter. He's slow as shit." All that stuff. And you know what? It's true. For most of the game, he was terrible. He was sitting on 3 fantasy points into the fourth quarter. Before he got going late. But again, Dan Campbell's a very stubborn coach, and this is what he's going to do. He's going to keep it, this arrangement where it is, and that's why I told you I was not comfortable drafting Jahmyr Gibbs at his cost, his 3rd-round cost. I'm not, and I think even going forward for at least the first half of the season, it may not be that impressive in terms of where the numbers are going to go. So if you're a Jahmyr Gibbs owner, you're not happy with how that outing went. There's just no two ways about it. You wanted more. And it was disturbing to see if you're a David Montgomery, if you're a Jahmyr Gibbs owner, it was disturbing to see David Montgomery get so many carries early on, and it really didn't change throughout the course of the night. So I think we need to temper expectations immediately now for the near future for Jahmyr Gibbs, and then go from there. But again, I used the term glorified 3rd down back when I was talking about Jahmyr Gibbs this summer. I was initially very pumped for him, but the more information that came out as the summer went, as we went through training camp, as the summer weeks went by, that's when I started to get a little bit concerned that he was being overpriced and that maybe he was going to be a glorified 3rd down back. And listen, that's what seems to be happening now. So, things could change, certainly could change, but I think Jahmyr Gibbs right now, we got to maybe accept the fact, if you're a Gibbs owner, that you overpaid for him with that 3rd-round draft cost. Jared Goff, it was a workmanlike effort for him. The pass rush got to him. The Detroit offensive line struggled a little bit in this game. 19-plus fantasy points for Amon-Ra St. Brown. It was a typically dominant outing for him, and he scored a touchdown. The touchdowns weren't there last year, so right off the bat, he got caught an impressive touchdown pass, broke some tackles, got into the end zone. Amon-Ra St. Brown's going to catch 1 million passes. There's just no other way to classify him this year. If you want to say, Sam Laporta might take some short area looks, maybe. And speaking of Sam Laporta, listen, 5 catches, 39 yards in his debut. Not bad. I gave you that stat yesterday's stream. Rookie tight ends in their NFL debut pretty much hovered around the 40-yard mark. Well, he finished with 39 yards. In a PPR league, 5 receptions, though, that worked out pretty well. So I like the way Sam Laporta looked, even though he didn't start the game. I think he's going to be a player. Deeper leagues, tight end. I don't think he's an every week starter just yet. Let's see him, do it a little bit more consistently going forward. But I thought it was a good outing for him. What else? Yeah, nobody else really stepped up to help Amon-Ra St. Brown and Laporta. for Detroit. And yeah, that's my take on the game there. So again, guys, Football Friday live stream later on today. Really, really competitive, good opener. The NFL had to be pleased with that game. And again, guys, hit the subscribe button. I will chat with you soon.